Hello everyone, and welcome back to another fun Marathon Society. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I know I'm one of the last few evening, if not the last. I want to say thank you to Nikki for allowing us to use the Greedy Clutch as one of the Marathon Society patterns. Today I have chosen to use the Batwing add-on, which is separate, and then I'm using, this is all Theratex and vinyl from Fabric Therapy. It's my first time sewing with Theratex and I love it, but it's a little nerve-wracking if your needle's not sharp. It did snag a little bit when I was poking the hole here. I have my tag from Heartwood and Hide. I do have another tag in there from last year's Marathon Society. I have changed the inside. The pattern usually has card slots, but I opted to do a pocket where I turned the bag from instead of turning it at the bottom. This is all interfaced with just fusible fleece vinyl. I don't remember which vinyl it was, but I will link it below. The bat add-on. I love this is such a cute, I've never done anything with the chains either, and I just got these chains off of Amazon. I'll link everything that I can find below, but thanks again for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video in the next Marathon Society. Okay, we're gonna go over the pieces first. Here are some of my hardware, but I have my rivets, anchor stabilizers, a little tag that I'm going to be adding in. Sewing blurb one. It says, this bag may be haunted. Metal or magnetic snap chain pliers to help with the chains. I am not doing the card slots, so I have pocket pieces. I have my zipper overlay, my zipper, 2 pocket pieces. So that's not part of the pattern, but because I'm not doing the card slots, I am adding a zipper pocket. For my anchor tabs, I'm doing 2-sided handle. So I have my handle pieces, and then these are the stabilizers for the anchor. I think they're optional. I used them with my last one, and I'll probably just use them again. This is all fabric from Fabric Therapy, the Theratex, and so I've got the flap. I have the exterior, 2 of those. I have them interfaced with fleece, not using foam, but just fleece. I used that on my last one, and I liked it. But I did use a thinner vinyl, not Theratex. This is my first time using this on a bag. And then my lining is the red. And then this is a Heartwood and Hide tag from actually last year's Sewing Marathon Society. I had an extra one, so I'm using that. And then also my tag from Heartwood and Hide as well. I'm going to do the zipper pocket first since it's not part of the pattern, and then we'll go from there. Oh yes, and my thread is from Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts. It's text 45, and it is the Black Widow. I'm just tying off the back threads here. Okay, so that is sewn on. Okay, so I have this tag sewn on now. And now to move on to the zipper. And I think I'm going to put it like 1.5 inches down maybe, because this isn't a very big clutch, so I think we're going to do 1.5 inches. Okay, it may not be perfectly lined up, but that's okay. And I need some tape. I'm going to tape it. You can't really see if I do that, so I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to put tape. Like I said, again, this is not part of the pattern. She has card slots in her pattern. And I'm never going to be second but we're going to try. You can learn with me. Right, 1.5 inches down. Oh, that's even, no, I'm going to go. Yikes. 1.25 inches. That's only going to give me like a 3-inch wide zipper. I'll do 1 inch. It'll be fine. We're going to go with 1 inch and see what happens. In the middle. So I'm going to sew all the way around the outer part of this zipper overlay. Oh, but I wanted to add this. I would have been sad if I forgot it. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this zipper. And my other one, I just did a regular zipper pocket.
Two hours later.
And then we're gonna cut this center out here. I like the thread. And I hope I did this the right size. So there's that. And now we're going to sew our zipper on. So the right side of the lining is up. Let's see if it stays on there. Okay, now we take this other piece, right side up on the other side. My zipper pull might fall off, but that's alright. Okay, so now I'm not gonna iron this, I'm just gonna top stitch it down. I think that's okay to do. I think I've seen people do this. I'm struggling with tension with my zipper. Okay, I'm gonna put double stick tape . Here is the pocket that I opted to do instead of card slots. So in case that pocket gets taken out for the directions, because it's not part of the seam or not part of the pattern, I'm going to go over my pieces really quick again. I have my 2 exterior pieces. I have my 2 lining pieces that are modified from the pattern. I'm doing a double-sided handle, so I have my 2 handles. I have my 2 flat pieces, anchor pieces, and I have my hardware, pliers, my rivets, snaps, D-rings. So let's start with the flap.
A few moments later.
I already modified one of these chain straps. It's got the D-ring and the clip on that. So I'm just gonna show you how I did that really quick. These chains came in 2 packs off of Amazon and they have the double hooks on it. So I'm gonna use this, some kind of plier, I don't know what it's called, but it's used for jewelry making or something. It's my daughter's. You just put the pliers in and you spread it apart so the thing opens up, the link. And I'm gonna take this off and set it aside because I don't need that. And I'm going to attach the D-ring here. And you don't need these anymore. You only need those to open up the links. And then I'm gonna use these. You can use kind of any kind of plier you want, but make sure it's got some kind of covering or coating, and I'm just squeezing it together. So I just used these key fob ones. I did use different pliers last time I made it, so whatever kind of pliers to squeeze the link back together. Just make sure you protect the metal. So then we have the clip and the D-ring on the other side. And you want 2 of these for as part of the handle. Now I will move on to the flap. And I am doing the Batwing Flap, and I did actually swap. I put the fleece on the lining and cut out a different flap because I noticed when I pressed the fleece onto the vinyl, it kind of like melted a little bit. It had the finish of, what's it called? The finish of like my heat press pad on it. And I didn't like that. Okay, so I'm gonna mark my snap on here. There's markings on the pattern pieces. And I don't put the snap in until after I've sewn it, but I feel like I would have plenty of room. Last time I felt like I did the standard snap and I felt like it would have been too close to the seam allowance for top stitching, but I think this will be plenty of room. So I guess I'm gonna just do that now. So flap, I'm going to put the outie piece, my outie piece, that, and I'm going to, I don't need that anymore, cover it with tape. Maybe this one. Okay, so then we're just going to set this piece aside, this lining piece, set that aside, and I have my template, I guess, and we want this, so this is extra up here, and you're gonna clip it here. Alright, so I'm gonna draw my lines here, here, from the middle down, and then I'm gonna top stitch. And I'm using a vinyl pen that's wipe awayable. I'm gonna take this and draw the line that way, like from the center mark down, I don't know why this is so curvy. It's kind of annoying me. Okay, now I'm gonna top stitch it all on those lines. So now I've wiped off all the residue from the pen after top stitching. I'm going to take the lining and put them right sides together and stitch around this, leaving the top open, and then I'll cut the seam allowance down and then turn it right sides out. Okay, so I've turned it and I'm just gonna poke the corner or the points out a little bit very carefully. Maybe use pinking shears. I didn't even think about that. Okay, so now I'm gonna top stitch it and baste this shut. Here is the flap. You see the red and black variegated. Now we're going to move on to the anchor pieces. There are 2 of them, and I will show you how to do one of them and then do the other one. So you have the line drawn halfway here, and if your machine likes double stick tape, go ahead and stick it right in the middle. Okay, so I have double stick tape. I'm gonna fold these into the center. So that, back side, front side, and I'm just gonna stitch on both the edges of those. That's not how you do it.
A few moments later.
Okay, so you're gonna take this. Okay, so we have the double stick tape here, and I'm gonna fold it into the middle like this, and then we're gonna put some double stick tape in the middle of it, which I'm gonna use a little bit thicker. And you can also put stabilizer in here, but I'm gonna skip that on this one because this is thicker vinyl than what I used last time. And we're just folding it. It's kind of hard with the black, but this is the wrong side with the seam. And we're folding that both into the middle. Ooh, this is really thick. I'm nervous my machine is gonna not like it. Okay, so we have both pieces folded to the center, and then we're gonna top stitch all the way around. So there it is, like so. And then your D-ring's gonna go over that. That's one, and then you're gonna repeat the same exact thing to the other side. So we have these two with the D-rings. Set that aside. And now we're gonna move to the handle. Okay, I'm gonna try something. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but we're gonna try. Okay, so I'm gonna put double stick tape on each edge piece. Okay, so I've just cut these edges to try and fold them in so there's no raw ends at the end because I don't have strap ends. So it's not gonna be perfect, but it won't be raw like my last one was. So I'm gonna fold this piece up. I'll just clip it, there's no tape on that. And then I'm gonna fold this piece up. And then fold the edges into the center. Gonna do the same thing with this lining piece here. Okay, I have both pieces folded into the middle now, and I'm going to put double stick tape on this and put them seam side together and sew them on up and down each side. So now she actually has specific measurements on the directions or in the directions of where you're gonna punch rivet holes. So, or holes for rivets, and you're gonna do it on both sides. Just make sure you follow the directions on where to put the holes. And then I'm gonna do that and I will be back.
2 hours later.
Okay, so I have my holes punched on both sides. And I'm going to take one of my chains, and she actually says don't attach the chain until after you do this part, but that's all right. I did it first. I'm gonna put the D-ring on here, and then we're gonna fold it over and match up the holes. I gotta see if I have longer rivets. Okay, so I got that. I'm gonna have to set it and then check and make sure that it's secure. And now we're doing this one. I do have longer rivets, so I'm just gonna use those. Should have done that in the first place. Okay, don't use short rivets, use longer rivets if you're using thicker vinyl. These are 9x10s, and I think I got them from Sally Tomato. I think a 9x9 would probably be perfect, but I don't have enough of them, so. Way easier. And you need like the longer one up by this fold. Like that's where I'm like running into trouble. Is up by the hardware, it's thicker. Doesn't lay as flat. Oh, that was way easier. Okay, so I have these two, and then I'm gonna go set them with my rivet press.
12 seconds later.
Alright, so I have my handle done, anchors done, flap done. Now we're gonna move on to the body. Okay, so in the directions, the next step is to do the card slots, but like I said, I'm not doing the card slots. I already did this pocket where I plan to turn the bag with. So I'm gonna take the back. I need to put this thing first. Hold on. I marked it on the right side, which probably wasn't the best idea, but it's gonna get covered by the snap anyways. So again, she has markings on the pattern piece where these snaps go, and she has the option for 1 or 2. I did film the other one I made, so I'll be releasing that soon. And that I did the 2 snaps with just the standard large flap. So I have my magnet on. This is gonna be the front, so my flap is gonna go over and cover my label, so when you open it, you see my label. I'm gonna take the back piece here, and I'm going to sew the flap on. The right sides are together. Well, the exteriors are together, and the lining is facing out. And I'm just lining up the middle, and I'm gonna clip it and baste it. So I'm interested to see how this turns out, because my other one I did, I used vinyl for the body, but it's a thinner vinyl, so we'll see. So I'm just gonna baste this on really quick. And now I'm going to take all 4 pieces and sew the dart. So I'm gonna fold these. I will show you on this first piece. And you want to double check the seam allowance, because the seam allowance is not the same on the exterior and the lining. Okay. So you go right sides together. And then I cut the seam allowance down. So right sides together, you're gonna sew the dart together just like that, and then trim the seam allowance down. And you wanna do that on all 4 pieces. Make sure you check the seam allowances in the pattern, because they are different for the exterior and the lining. Now we are going to, I'm gonna start with the exterior pieces, put them right sides together. Okay, and we're gonna sew all the way around, leaving the top open. Check your seam allowance for the given seam allowance in the pattern. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning and the end. Gonna trim the seam allowance down. I'm gonna leave this untrimmed and this untrimmed. We have this done. Now we're gonna do that to the lining, right sides together. You want to taper in after an inch on your seam allowance. And if you do not have a turning pocket, you will need to leave an opening at the bottom. She says of about 5 inches. But I will be turning it through the pocket. Okay, so I have this clipped, and then I'm going to sew about an inch, and then I'm going to tape it in for a bigger seam allowance. She tells you in the pattern what seam. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning and the end. And if you aren't turning through a pocket, make sure you leave the 5-inch opening. Here's where you'll leave the opening. And I backstitch on my darts as well. Alright, I'm gonna move back out to my original seam allowance. Okay, I'm gonna trim my seam allowance down. If you have the opening, don't trim that part down. Okay, so we have that. Now we need the exterior because we need to put our anchors tabs on. So I'm going to turn that right sides out. Okay, so there are some measurements given in the pattern, and this is not wipeable. So I do have an air erasing marker. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Hopefully it doesn't erase too fast. I don't even see the line on this thing. I might just have to measure as I go. So we're gonna take our anchor. Okay, so mark your rivet holes and put your holes. Thank goodness I have longer rivets. So now what I want to do is use the line that I drew. So I have my holes here, and I'm going to use these holes as a guide to mark on here. I just had to double check because there's no going back. Okay, so you have your anchor attached like this. So you draw your measurement line down here, and then you poke your anchor holes, and then you use that as a guide to put it onto the body of the bag. So I'm going to do the other side, and then I'm going to set the rivets.
Early the next morning.
Okay, so I have the other one done, and now I'm going to go set the rivets.
Tomorrow for sure.
Now we get to put it together. So we are going to take the exterior piece and shove it inside the lining, matching up the side seams. I want the pocket towards the back, so it's gonna be up against the flap. And the lining is smaller than the exterior, so you just gotta smash it and make it fit. I'm making sure I line up my side seams. Why this one isn't lining up. Like, it looks good now, kind of. My other one lined up perfectly, so I must have just goofed on something, like a little bit of the seam allowance or something. But now I'm going to sew this all together. Back stitching over that seam. So now we have it all together. Turn it through very carefully so nothing rips. I do have to sew the pocket shut. I'm gonna push this in here. I'm gonna explain what I'm gonna do. Rolling the seams in. I did not trim that top seam allowance. I'm just gonna roll this, top stitch it all the way around, and then sew my pocket shut.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
I'm actually gonna turn it right side out again so I can top stitch on the exterior. You don't have to do this. I just like to do it. I prefer top stitch on the top. And then we'll start in the back. Here I go. Fingers crossed. And like I said, I will shut that pocket. Sew that pocket shut. Fold this over. There's nothing in here. It'll lay better like once something's in here. I do have the other one recorded like I said, so I'll be releasing that soon. So there we have it. Kind of loop. So I think this would be better with the 2 snaps or extra interfacing. It does lay flat. It's kind of bulky, I think, because of the pocket. But like I said, the original pattern does have card slots. So my first time working with TheraTex. This will fold over. I love the variegated thread on this flap. But like I was saying, TheraTex is a little intimidating because I feel like it would snag, and it did a little bit when I was doing the hole for the snap. But that's okay. It's still cute. It's still amazing. Thank you, Nikki, for allowing us to use your pattern for Marathon Sewciety. This was really fun to sew. I'd never made one before, so, well, I made my practice one, but yeah. Thanks again. See you next time. Thanks for hanging out with us all day and supporting all the other sewists also. Next time.